This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Sports rundown.
Welcome back to the Sports Rundown here on 89.5 KQAL. I am Gabe Slavin here with my lonely studio analyst, Eric Bell. Eric, we scared everyone else off here for the rundown.
I don't know where they went. They didn't give a thumbs up in our group chat.
They didn't give the thumbs up in the group chat. The biggest sin you can commit here at KQAL. I'm just kidding.
It's like they all have jobs or something. They don't care about this. It's so weird.
Yeah, you'll just have to hear from us here for this hour of production for the Sports Rundown. But we can start how are you doing this fine afternoon?
I'm doing perfectly amazing. I had Dr. Ma's class. That went very well. Interesting stuff happened in that class, so it went overall well. Went back home, did nothing else basically until just now.
Went back home. That's very great. I love to hear about your academic astonishments, and I don't know why I said astonishments, but just learning more about your academic journey is very interesting to hear, Eric. Yeah. But we can get started here for the rundown here as beautiful Thursday out, and I'll start with a couple icebreaker questions, okay? Do you know what day it is?
Ooh, that's really hard. I don't really know. Is today Friday?
No, it's Thursday.
Okay, my bad.
But it is opening day of Masters Week.
Yeah, that's what's
going on. That's what's going on. We'll get you more updated on that as we go into the second half of our show, but be sure to stay tuned for that coverage. But it is also, I found this out, it is National Unicorn Day. And when you think of a unicorn, what do you think of, Eric?
I think of a very beautiful Pegasus horse. I mean, the Pegasus is different from a unicorn, to be fair.
You think of the pony with the horn on the front.
Yeah, typical stuff. Mm-hmm.
Typically, that's a very good point. A unicorn can also describe somebody or something as exceptionally rare, unique, and highly desirable. So my question to you is, what would be your unicorn and this can be any aspect of your life, what would be your unicorn?
Oh, I don't know. Any aspect of just a sports player?
It could be a sports player, it could be a class, it could be a person just something that's incredibly unique.
I mean, I would say for soccer it'd be Lionel Messi. He's very unique, and he's kind of a unicorn. He's once in a generation thing.
Once in a generation, okay. I mean, you can go the very literal term, like someone's name literally being the unicorn, Kristaps Porzingis. We haven't heard from him in a while. What do you think he's doing?
Isn't he on the Warriors, I believe?
I believe he is on the Golden State Warriors. Is he playing right now?
Don't think he is. I think he's been injured because he would be the only bright spot on that team.
Oh, I mean, come on.
I mean, they got Seth Curry and Steph Curry. They got Draymond.
They got Draymond. They got Jimmy. They got Jimmy buckets. I don't think he's healthy either.
No, he's been out. I think since the season started. Could be wrong on that.
But I mean, it's always interesting to look at that because, I mean, the NBA. We had a little bit of trivia last week where NBA players. I didn't even know Kevin Love was on the Jazz, and he was traded there. Timberwolves legend. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, only recently traded people that I could think of to the Jazz is Jaren Jackson Jr. Just can't really think of Kevin Love being traded to. I mean, he was on the Heat, I believe, last time, and then he got traded to Jazz. The Jazz.
Yeah, it's always interesting to think about that because Kevin Love, you don't even think of him as a Heat player. I mean, he was on the Cavaliers for the longest time, obviously a long-time Timberwolf, and it's always interesting to see. He could be considered a unicorn because he was really the lone bright spot of Minnesota during the what would you call that period of basketball for Minnesota?
The Dark Ages.
The Dark Ages. That's what I was
Ages.
thinking too. Just very interesting to think about that period of time before Would you say pre-Andrew Wiggins, I guess, would be kind of, because that was a trade that's got him there, but, I'd say pre-Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, pre-Karl Anthony Towns, because, when Andrew Wiggins got here, he was traded for Andrew Wiggins.
That is true.
So,
that is very true.
Andrew Wiggins was good for us. He just didn't live up to what they called him. The Maple Jordan was his nickname coming out of
Maple
college.
Jordan, that is true. He came out of Kansas, and he had an unbelievable combine, and he was very ultra talented. It's kind of insane that you can also say he was an all-star, NBA all-star starter with the career he's had so far.
Yeah, that it was a crazy year that he got the all-star. To be fair, he deserved it. He was having a great year in the Warriors. What amazing season.
You could consider him a unicorn there.
Yeah, true.
18 points per game. He started in the All-Star game for the NBA, but, his impact was there, obviously. But we could ask another question before we get started for some Warrior sports here on the Sports Rundown. What is your favorite sports myth? So we can do this a couple ways. You can do kind of we can go back to the name's not coming to me back, like the NBA lottery theory, like conspiracy, or you can do something that like people typically think, but it's actually not true. Like what would you say your favorite sports myth is?
Oh God, I think anything like involving the NBA draft about last year, the whole Luka Doncic gets traded, the Mavericks get the first overall pick, select Cooper Flag, but a sport myth that I kind of like, that I kind of actually, I wouldn't say it's a myth, but the Patrick Ewing, the frozen envelope back in 1985. Yes. Or the bent envelope cornered. Because if you're watching the video, he did throw those in. He didn't actually throw any of those in until the Knicks pick.
Yeah, very interesting to point out that, too, because David Stern, the commissioner at the time, he was throwing them in. Do you think he's that skilled where he can just kind of throw, just that perfect angle to get that corner perfectly curled? Or
I don't know.
You don't know?
I would think so. I would hope so. At that time, in '85, I believe Patrick Ewing was drafted, the year after the legendary '84 draft.
That is true. That is very true. Because what was that? The year of Hakeem, Michael Jordan, Stockton, Barkley.
Was Karl Malone in that? I don't believe he was.
I was Stockton, I believe. He was the 1-2 punch for the Jazz. But yeah, very interesting myth there. And it's always interesting to me when we talk about the lottery is every year it kind of feels like we don't actually, I don't think we even see now them drop do the lottery method where it's like the ping pong balls, or what do they do with that now?
It's behind a closed curtain now, I believe. And I think that's the thing.
Behind closed doors, you never know what happens.
I believe so.
But I'll tell you what's not a myth, Eric, and that is Winona State sports, as we have a lot of sports to talk about that are currently in season, and we can start kind of intermixing them a little bit with some golf, as it is Masters Week. We can start off with golf here, as currently women's and men's teams aren't in action just yet, but the women's golf team will be heading over to Wayne, Nebraska for the Wildcat Invitational, which is their last meet before the NSIC Championships will be a couple weeks from now, 22nd and 24th. The last time we saw them in action was the Upper Iowa Invitational. They finished 6th among the 10 qualifying teams. Georgia Volley led Winona State with an 11th overall finish, 9 over par, so very solid overall for her. And Kesamara also finished 3 strokes behind that to finish in the top 20 as well. And shout out to Megan Young, who finished with a plus 15 to finish 23rd. So a couple of solid performances here for Winona State, getting that 6th place finish in Waterloo, Iowa. Had to throw that out there. But again, very solid for them, but they weren't in action this week. They'll be in action early next week for that Wildcat Invitational. A team that was in action while we were gone was the men's golf team, as they were in the Firekeeper Open in Marietta, Kansas. And who do you think hosts this invitational?
It's Washburn, right?
It is the Washburn. What is their mascot?
Oh, I don't know. Is it like a big W?
It is. Their mascot is called the Ichabods.
Oh, I have heard of Ichabod. What is an Ichabod?
That is a great question. I'm not really.
It's not a warrior. I'll tell you that much.
It is not a warrior. It looks like. Try to look it up, but yeah, the Washburn Ichabods hosted this golf site as well, as the Warriors men's golf team finished 4th among 17 qualifying teams. Peyton Coran finished the event with a plus 17 so far, as well as Javier Ramos Casarigo, both finishing atop for the Warriors team, as well as Luke Moss getting up there with a +6 as well in this invitational. But again, Warriors finishing very strong here. Coach Straight coaching in his last season. He has one more NSIC championship to coach here in Smithville, Missouri, as that'll be on April 17th and 19th. So we'll keep you updated on that. And again, this Warrior men's and women's golf teams were in the teams to watch released by the NCAA for their regional rankings, which they didn't release official rankings, but they did release like teams to look at and watch, and they released it in alphabetical order. So, I mean, it's always interesting to think about that because you don't actually give them a ranking. You just say, oh, we're thinking about these teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting how they do that. I mean, I would say this Warriors team, this Warriors women and golf team are very great at what they do. I think last year, I don't know if they won the NSIC tournament, but I know they've been very phenomenal this whole year. Like, I think like first place finishes out of majority of their matches or the opens that they have played at.
Yeah, so keep in tune for them because both of these teams have postseason expectations to look at as well. But again, a lot to look forward to with NSIC championships coming very shortly. But there's a couple of more teams in action. We're going to start with the team that was in action on Wednesday in Mankato, Eric, because the softball team faced one of the top teams in the NSIC.
Yeah, I mean, on Wednesday, they went against Mankato University. I mean, to be fair, we are the top team in the NSIC conference, right ahead of them. And so this is a big W for the women's the softball team to get. First of all, they went even on the day. In the series, I should say. In the first game at 2 p.m., they lost 6-2, and then on Wednesday, they won 3-2. And their next two games are in Winona against Wayne State and Augustana University.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to look at how this Warrior team does. I mean, a lot of their biggest strengths comes from the bullpen. Obviously, Jada Bird picking up the win against Mankato in their two-game series on Wednesday. She had a very solid performance there, only allowing 5 hits and a strikeout. And again, it's really interesting to look at where this Warrior team is right now because they are sitting with a very good record, 33-6. And they're sitting in the regional rankings, but it just feels like they're going to get a couple more wins right now, and you got to watch that NSIC tournament, right, Eric?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I feel like we are a slept-on team, at least in the regional rankings. I feel like we should be higher in the regional rankings than we are, because this team is very, very phenomenal, especially in the pitching position. I mean, their next 4 games, I believe, are going to be basically I'm going to predict this 3-1 series.
All right, you heard it here first.
Prediction. Come on, women's softball.
Forecast from Eric Bell.
Come on, softball team. Don't disappoint me. I don't want to put a curse on. I might have put a curse on them.
Well, we'll keep in touch for that. Okay. But again, this Warriors team, 23rd in the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association's top 25. Try saying that 5 times fast. But again, very important weekend here as well for the Warriors as they they host Wayne State and Augustana this weekend. Big thing to note, they did change the dates here a little bit. They tweaked it a little bit. They'll be playing, if you want to go, Eric.
Oh, I do not. They tweaked is it not on Friday?
It is on Friday, but
okay.
It wasn't. It was a little bit different before. I believe it was Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
But yeah, they'll be first pitch at 1-3 against Wayne State and 12-2 against Augustana. And another team we could take a look at here is women's track and field, as the last time we saw them in action was at the Ashton May Invite in La Crosse. Kylie Anderson having a very solid performance overall in that, in the number 2 ranking in the NCAA Division II Central Region ranking and leading across the NSIC ranks. And again, Ella Voigt leading in the steeplechase. Ton of popular notions there for this track and field team. They have their second outdoor meet in the Mid-State Open, which will be on Monday, and official times will come out as we get closer to that. And again, keep an eye as well on the Brian Clay Invitational next week in Azusa. I hope I'm saying.
Hopefully, you said that right.
It's in California, so kind of a weird turnaround where you start the week in Mankato and then you go to California for an invitational. But that's kind of the competition here for this women's track and field team. So.
Yeah, I mean they play like 2 teams at the Clay Invitational, which is it's kind of weird because looking at the schedule, April 16th and the 18th is that Brian Clay Invitational, but then on April 16th they are heading to Los Angeles for Cal State LA Twilight Open, and then on the 17th and 18th they head back to La Crosse to play the Phil Easton Challenge. So I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to look at, and You might have missed one meet that's coming up right after that, the Drake Relays.
Oh,
We'll
Drake.
be sure to keep in mind of that. One of my favorite locations to have a track meet at Drake University. But we'll continue to move forward here as we have a couple of more sports to cover here for Winona State Athletics. And we're going to pivot over to a team that was in action today at Lowry Field. And Eric, would you like to take Warrior baseball?
Yes, the men's baseball team finished the series today against Augustana at 1-1. Where in the first game they lost 2-0. Nathan Vila pitched six innings, I should say. He pitched, and then also in the game that actually just ended a couple minutes ago before we went on air, the Warriors actually got the W against Augustana with a total hits of 9-9 between each team. And what a great W! I mean, great comeback win, or I shouldn't say comeback win, but a great way to end the series, tied even overall.
Yeah, Augustana entering this weekend was ranked 14th in Division II, according to their poll. And again, they're sitting very highly in the conference at 25-9, 18-4 in conference play, second in the NSIC. And I mean, just splitting this series, Eric, is very crucial for a Warrior team who's trying to stay in the NSIC tournament race right now.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it's very crucial. I mean, their next 3 games are against St. Cloud, and St. Cloud is currently ranked number 4 in the they're position number 4 in the NSIC conference. So if they can win that series, I shouldn't say win that series, but go at least positive in that series, they will have a great chance of making that tournament even more.
Yeah, I mean, very good stretch here for Warrior baseball as they'll be heading to St. Cloud, like Eric said, this weekend. Doubleheader on Friday as well as a Saturday. First pitch at 11 on Saturday as well. And it's going to be very interesting to look at where Warrior baseball finishes up this season, as their conference tournament will be May 6th. So we won't be officially on the air for that, as Warriors will have a ton of matchups to go along with that, but it'll be interesting to see where they finish, as this NSIC tournament is being shaped as, again, very typical among a lot of NSIC teams. Usually it's either 8 or 12. For baseball, I believe it's 8.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, it's very interesting because basketball, it was like 12, I believe.
It was 12 teams who made the NSIC tournament.
The men's team barely made it in, but that was because of Jamestown not being able to play, which if Jamestown was able to play, since this is their first time in the NSIC conference, they would have made it over the men's basketball team. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting how it's different for different sports, like 8 teams here and then 12 teams for basketball. And it's football. Football, I assume it's 8 teams.
For football, there is no NSIC tournament. As their regular season closes, the very next week is when Division II playoffs start.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see if they eventually implement a conference tournament. It's kind of weird with how they schedule everything. Maybe have a conference championship game, which is more typical in college football, something like that. But again, we'll always keep an eye on that for Warrior football, but we won't hear from them until the fall. And there's one more sport we can talk about that will be in action this weekend, as well as Warrior women's tennis will be traveling to Sioux Falls. Last time we saw them, they were hosted a couple of teams that are University of Wisconsin-Superior and College in Winona for a homestead, and they split that one this past weekend on April 3rd, picking up a 6-1 victory, securing the doubles series for the Warriors as well, and a couple of solid finishes for Lainey Ristow, who also finished last week as NSIC Athlete of the Week for women's tennis, so kudos to her, as well as Clara Tomke, who was on the rundown last week.
Yeah, last week Monday.
Last week Monday, as she finished with a 3 in 3 sets with a victory as well. So the Warriors picked up a win in that first matchup against University of Wisconsin Superior, as well as picking up, unfortunately dropping their contest to College 5-2, as they dropped the double series, with a couple of wins there for some Warriors, as Nikita Agarwal and Lainey Ristow picking up singles victories for the Warriors as well. But they'll be also heading to Sioux Falls this weekend, as we mentioned earlier. They'll be taking on University of Sioux Falls on Friday. That start time will be 6 o'clock, as well as the next day being still in Sioux Falls. They'll be taking on Augustana University, as the Vikings will start their match at 3:30 as well. And then another thing to note for this women's tennis team is they will be taking on Minnesota State University Mankato next week in Owatonna, so be sure to stay tuned for that as well. And the NSIC tournament will be April 24th through 26th. So a lot of NSIC tournaments coming up, so we'll have to keep you updated on that as the weeks progress in April. And Eric, it's kind of unbelievable that it's already April. It feels like it was just yesterday we were coming back for the spring semester.
Yeah, I mean, it's very crazy because I am a senior this year, and it's very interesting how this semester has gone. Because it's right. It feels like last week it was just like February.
Yeah, and I mean, with so many Winona State sports going on, can you just think of a moment that has stuck out to you so far in this semester that you can remember?
I think the women, this isn't. Oh, it is the women's basketball run to the tournament. I mean, I think from last year they didn't even make the tournament, to this year where they were actually outstanding. They beat Mankato early in the season, and they also had the clutch game against I think Concordia St. Paul when it went to double overtime, and was it Haley Markworth that hit the game-winning shot?
It was Haley Markworth to close it in the Gangelhoff Center, and that was a very interesting game.
So I would say following the women's basketball team over this semester has been very phenomenal into the tournament.
Yeah, well, we'll try to keep you as active here on the Sports Rundown as we can, Eric, and who knows, we might be able to get you a host or two here to close out the season. But again, we'll have it here on the Sports Rundown on KQAL, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about some stuff going on. But before we go, just important note for Warrior softball, we will be covering that in a couple of weeks as they take on, let me pull it up here real quick, as Winona State, Ani Lang will be making her appearance back on KQAL for the Warrior women's softball as they take on Wayne State College on Sunday with a start time at 12. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well. And we'll also keep you covered on other Winona State sports. But that will do it here for the first half of the Sports Rundown. And when we come back, we'll have some talk about the Masters, some talk about the NBA, a national champion was crowned, and a song?
A song?
You'll hear more on 89.5 KQAL. Welcome back to the Sports Rundown here on 89.5 KQAL. I am Gabe Slavin here with Eric Bell for our duo here, rundown here on Thursday, as we have a lot to talk about, Eric. And I alluded to a little bit at the end of that little closer for the first half about a song. And I want to start with that because I feel like you feel very passionate about this song too, as there's a controversy going on in the World Cup, and it has to do with a specific song by Jelly Roll, if I'm correct.
Yes, it is by Jelly Roll, featuring Karine Leon. I probably did not say that name right, but this song is absolutely terrible. I'm sorry. Why is Jelly Roll? No offense to all the probably 5 Jelly Roll fans maybe listening here on KQAL. Hopefully, maybe if any. It's terrible. You could last year, or not last year. I mean, every single World Cup, get Shakira. Shakira, make those hips move. Come on, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
those songs are bangers.
From what a lot of people have been saying, it seems like it's just not really traditional for the World Cup anthem. Is that what you're taking away from it so far? No, yeah, it's definitely not
traditional. I get every single year that they try to do something cultural, but I don't know exactly what they did for this World Cup. I mean, this whole World Cup has been in shambles with all the controversies around it, like the recent controversy with the whole ticketing system, where now FIFA just changed the whole ticketing, where people who bought Category 1 are now in a different spot compared to where they were before. And so a lot of people are upset about that.
A lot of people are upset about that. And I mean, when you talk about ticketing systems and stuff like that, it just feels like this is another thing where it just feels like, I mean, people like to complain, but it's just not World Cup-esque.
No,
it just doesn't give that feel.
No, it doesn't give that feel because, I mean, to be fair, the last 2 World Cups in host cities were in Qatar and Russia, and they have had their controversies fairly so. And it felt like this year, or in the World Cup this year, was going to be different, and so far it hasn't been different. I mean, you see the grade of FIFA raising because, I'm pretty sure when we hosted it back in 1994. I could be wrong on that one. The World Cup tickets was $30.
Yeah,
$30 compared to now, where a Category 1 ticket is $900. And then also World Cup. I mean, you see everywhere else in the world like hosting like big cups like UEFA, Euros, or even like the World Cup in Qatar, and seeing how cheap it is there compared to this year, where it felt like this year was like a cash grab by FIFA.
And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't Jelly Roll a country artist?
Yes, I know.
Why are we choosing country as the theme for?
No one listens. Okay, people do listen to country. Like, don't get me wrong. Okay, don't let all the 5 country fans maybe listening.
Yeah.
Don't come at me. All right. But the World Cup doesn't need country. It's cultural. It is a like hip hop, like pop stuff, like Shakira. The Wave Your Flag, I think for the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, there was better options that they could have picked than just Jelly Roll.
So if you were to choose because the World Cup is in America this year,
yes.
Correct? What artist would you choose to have, or if you have a song in mind, which would it be?
Well, I don't have a song in mind, but I have an artist. I think you have to do something like historical. Like I'm gonna say, I mean, to be fair, I am a big rap fan, so I'd probably say like Kendrick Lamar would probably be one of them. But also like outside of that, like you could have like Bruno Mars. You could have, I mean, you could even have someone, because like it's not only in America, it is in Mexico. So you could have like a Spanish speaking or like maybe like Bad Bunny to do it. I know he's from Puerto Rico, but I mean he is American, and he could do the song for them.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options there, especially for this type of stage. But again, a lot of people were talking about it, so it's interesting to kind of get that influx of like, okay, did we really need this song to be the choice for the World Cup? But again, that's the song they chose, so we're going to have to roll with that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to look at. And the official day that the World Cup starts is in June, correct?
Yes, it is
June
June
8th.
June 8th. Okay, I didn't know it was. I knew it was in June, but I thought it was like towards the end because I believe it is a 2-month tournament.
2 month, okay.
Yes, because I believe because I do have a trip in July to Japan, and I believe it ends that week. I believe.
Nice. And yeah, it'll be very interesting to look and see how the World Cup shakes up in the summer, and we'll continue to keep you updated on any other crazy changes going on with the World Cup this year. But we can pivot over to a couple of actions that have happened since we left the air, and big thing we've been talking about all month has been March Madness. And the national championship was on Monday night as Michigan took on UConn. I picked UConn. Everyone else picked Michigan.
Yeah, I know you picked it because everyone else is going to say Michigan, but I mean, you should have picked Michigan, my guy. Come on.
Michigan defeats UConn in the national championship, which ends a 26-year drought of national champions for the Big Ten, which is kind of crazy when you really think about it.
I mean, yeah, think about it. I mean, like it wasn't by another Michigan team because it was 2002 or
it would be 2000.
2000 was Michigan State.
Yep, Tom Izzo.
Yeah, so Tom Izzo's still coaching 26 years later too.
Yeah, and it's what's really crazy about that? The fact that people are mad that Tom Izzo hasn't gotten to the national championship, or it's not that he hasn't gotten there, he hasn't won it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I feel like people don't understand how hard it is to actually go and win the national championship every year because, I mean, who is the most national champions? John Wooden?
Yeah, John Wooden. I mean, he did that in the 60s and 70s. I know he had Kareem, and I forget who else he's had. I think he had Bill Walton, too. It just, like, historic stuff. It's very, like, you cannot touch John Wooden, it seems like, in college basketball.
Yeah, and, like, a lot of characters. Bill Self only has 2 national championships back in 2008 as well as 2022. So a lot of things to talk about there, but it's also interesting to bring this up because women's basketball, UCLA, Big Ten. Football, Indiana, Big Ten. Men's basketball, Michigan, Big Ten.
No.
First time since 2007 since all 3 national champions for both men's and women's basketball and college football came from the same conference. What conference do you think that came from?
Ooh, the SEC?
Yes.
Okay, I mean, makes sense.
And you know which teams won for each sport?
You said 2007?
2007.
The Gators.
Gators for men's basketball, correct?
Yeah, and then did they win women's or?
No.
I know did they win the football?
So Florida only won men's basketball this year, but they did win a national championship in football the year after.
Oh, the year after. Okay.
Yep.
Is there any more, like 2 more teams?
There's 2 more teams.
In the SEC?
In the SEC, that isn't Florida, and it isn't a. I'll give you a hint. It's not like football is not as like well known.
No, well,
It's not as well known as like obvious answers like Alabama, I should say.
yeah. Is it UNC? No, they're in the ACC. Oh my God, I don't know. Auburn?
Auburn, no.
Oh God, hold on, give me a minute.
I'll give you a hint for football. Buyout.
Buyout.
They like to buy out a lot of coaches.
Oh my God, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay. It will be the LSU Tigers for college football. And then for women's basketball, I'll let you guess for this one too. This one, they're very well known for this era. They had a very famous player that played in the WNBA, and she's also in the media now.
In the media now.
For NBA and WNBA.
For NBA and WNBA. Oh my God, I'm trying to think.
Again, 2007. This is the year.
2007. I'm going to say Tennessee.
Correct. And that are all three teams that won the national championship in 2007 for men's basketball, women's basketball, and college football. It doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah, I mean, how could I forget? Because what Tennessee that year was Vince Young? Was he at Texas or at Tennessee?
Vince Young was at Texas, and he
before.
It was a couple years before when he was had one of the greatest national championships of all time against USC. But yeah, I mean, very interesting to point out how the Big Ten's been really starting to gain a lot of momentum here these past couple years. Last three football national champions, getting a college basketball national championship for both sides this year. So it'll be very interesting.
And also soccer too, Washington.
And also soccer. That's a very great point. Wrestling. I mean, there's a lot of sports you can really point at right now where the Big Ten is laying their mark. And it's going to be interesting with all this talk of conference realignment, all this talk about NIL, seeing who's going to be the premier league, people would say. And I mean, the SEC for the longest time was that premier conference.
I mean, since like the 2010s, I mean, even since like the 2000s. I mean, it felt like before that, like it was the Big Ten was like the leader. It felt like until like basically 2000 when the SEC kind of took over. It'll be very interesting to see because I think the Big Ten obviously is back on top currently with the most national champions in college sports. Yeah,
it's going to be very intriguing to look at where that goes from there. But that's going to close the book on a very special March Madness run for college basketball. The transfer portal has opened, and already it feels like 50% of college obviously it's not 50%, but a lot of college athletes have entered the portal already, and there's a lot going on with that, but it's going to be interesting to look at.
Yeah, I mean, to get up before we get off this, how would you rank this March Madness conference?
This the tournament itself?
Yep. How would you rank it out of 10?
I would say I'd give it a 9.
Really?
It was
okay.
Very obviously a lot of people like upsets. A lot of upsets that didn't happen that we wanted to, the 2s and 15s. But you got to see some really awesome moments like High Point defeating Wisconsin in the first round. Sorry, Wisconsin fans.
You're Iowa.
I mean, I wasn't even going to mention them, but the Iowa Hawkeyes. First time in One Shining Moment. I guess I can ask you, Eric, have you seen One Shining Moment for this year's?
No, I have not.
I recommend giving it a watch. Iowa appears for 4 seconds with Alvaro Folgueras hitting that 3 against Florida.
Okay.
But again, very special moments for that, as well as just having Braylon Mullins pulling up on that 3-point shot against Duke. That also appears. There's just so many moments, so many great games that we saw that it's not the same level of craziness that we expect in March Madness that we expected for the past couple years, but the quality, the games that you saw, it was some great basketball.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, I would give this. I mean, because this is the first time I actually kind of fully paid attention to the tournament since probably like the Loyola College run back in 2017 maybe or 20 somewhere around there. I would give this probably an 8. I would obviously more upsets. I'm an upsets guy. I like to see upsets. I'm seeing that Siena game, that moment was beating the number 1 seed Duke was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of moments to look at and talk about, and we'll be excited for next year when March Madness comes back. But unfortunately, that door will close for now. But in its wake, we have another tournament that's coming up, or some would say a master. as the Masters has officially opened, with day one being nearly concluded, as most people have finished their tee times. And looking at it, Eric, there's a lot of takeaways you can have so far, but what has been your takeaway looking at this Masters tournament?
It seems currently, I mean, I don't know too much about the Masters and whatnot. I'm not a big golf guy like Ryan and Jared are, but I mean, Sam Burns, I don't know where he was like in the odds rating before, but I mean today I think he's done right now for his tee time. Him and Rory McIlroy, hopefully I said that last name right, tied for -5 on the day, and then also like I think I know Monday I picked John Rahm. I don't see him currently in even like the top 10. I don't believe.
Yeah, he is not in the top 10 so far.
He was very highly rated, like in the odds rating.
Yeah, he was second. He was the second favorite as he won the Masters a couple of years ago, and it's going to be interesting to look at that. And obviously, the favorite, Scottie Scheffler, he's doing okay so far. Currently placed
tied for sixth.
Tied for sixth right now. And looking at that, this would be his opportunity to pick up his third Masters win. And right now, there are 5 golfers that he would join, and that would be Jimmy Demarais, Sam Snead, Gary Player, Nick Faldo, and Phil Mickelson, as all 5 of those golfers have picked up 3 Masters tournaments. And obviously, you have Arnold Palmer and Tiger Woods as well, with a little more than 3, but those are like kind of the golfers who would be associated if he picked up his third. And we talked about Rory McIlroy. He's looking to pick up his back-to-back Masters. And how many golfers do you think have won back-to-back Masters so far, Eric, in history?
In history, I would say maybe 3.
You hit that right on the head, as there's 3 golfers who won back-to-back Masters. Jack Nicklaus, as he won in 1965 and 66. Nick Faldo won in 1989 and 1990. And then the most recent person to do it is Tiger Woods. From 2000 to 2002. So very important to keep an eye on that, as well as we talked about Jon Rahm not having the best day so far. Another golfer who just hasn't really been as notable is Bryson DeChambeau, as he currently isn't anywhere close to the top 10. He was a very popular bet. He was 3rd highest odds to win this Master.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ryan had him winning it, I believe. I mean, Ryan Texan, if you're listening, to correct me. But yeah, I mean, I would also think Jared also had him high. I'm pretty sure. What a crazy thing to not even be like. I don't see him at all. Like, where is he? He's disappeared. Where's Superman? You know. Where's
Superman? Indeed, and it's just very interesting to look at, as there's a lot of golfers right now who are currently even. He's a couple strokes back right now.
Yeah, he's tied 56.
Yeah, currently. He's currently triple bogey right now, and just trying to get back over to even here. Obviously, day one, so a lot can happen.
They have 3 days,
but
from today.
But yeah, as he's currently not doing so well, but a golfer who has been doing well is Sam Burns, who's currently tied with Rory right now with below 5 strokes in the first round. Sam Burns having a very solid day so far, so important to keep him in mind as well as this tournament progresses, as he wasn't a golfer really that had super high odds, as he's not even in the top 25, as it's going to be interesting to see where he finishes, as there's usually a golfer that starts really hot early, and it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, very, very interesting to see, because, I mean, as we've talked before, the Masters isn't over yet. It's day 1. They have 3 more days left until it's over. And, I mean, I think it'd be very interesting if he beats if Sam Burns beats Rory McIlroy.
Yeah. We'll keep you updated, as our Monday show will have the results of the Masters, and if we do see a back-to-back from Rory, or if Scotty comes back and takes it, or if we have a different winner. DeChambeau possibly somehow coming back 3 strokes above, and we'll see how he does with that. But we'll continue to keep an eye on that for Monday's show. But we can pivot over to some talk, as I know you're a very big NBA fan, Eric, and the regular season finale is in 3 days. So there's a lot to talk about here as the NBA continues to wind down. I feel like we should start with a playoff picture, as right now it seems like we're starting to figure a lot of things out. We'll start with the West.
Yeah, I believe currently right now it is OKC did clinch their first, so they are the definitive 1 seed. I'm pretty sure the Timberwolves are the definitive 6 seed too. I don't know. We'll see with the 2 teams. I believe I would assume San Antonio is going to finish as the number 2. I think currently where everyone is at, I think for at least 1 through 6, it is currently going to be set. It's all set with these teams. It's just like realignments of where they're going to be. Like, can Denver get to 60 wins? I highly doubt it. I don't think that. Yeah, no, they definitely cannot get to 61. So it currently is where they will probably be ending up in 3rd place, and we'll have a rematch of the 1 series, I believe. Not last year. The 2 years ago. Between the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, and I think that
Western Conference semifinals. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
7-game series and one of the best series that year for the NBA playoffs. But yeah, you talked about it. OKC clinching the 1 seed. San Antonio is locked in at the 2. Right now, the only 3 spots that can move in the playoff picture for this Western Conference is the 3, the 4, and the 5. Denver, like you said, super close to clinching. Only 2 games left for every team in the NBA. So if they win, or if both LA and Houston lose, they would officially take that title as the definitive 3 seed and would play Minnesota. But again, it's going to be interesting to talk about the Lakers, as they were just hitting their stride. Luka Doncic was having the best game, and couple of injuries. This
series would have been a win. I know Luka is currently going to Europe, I think Spain specifically, to hopefully come back in time. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm pretty. He's out for the season, I'm pretty sure. Like, he's not coming back.
They didn't give an official timetable for him. They're anticipating that they could try to get him back by the playoffs, but they're trying to speed it up as fast as possible with that trip to Spain.
Yeah, why? And I saw, I think Bill Simmons on his podcast, like, why didn't Austin Reeves go? Why didn't he go to Europe? Because, they're top 3 scorers. This team, I know JJ Redick, I believe, is not a great coach. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he actually holds his team accountable. You saw it, I think, in the last game that they played. He was like, yeah, I bench Rui, I bench DeAndre in because they were just trash. They could do nothing. If this series between Houston and the Lakers, which I'm going to say it is going to happen between those two, they're going to face one another. It's 4 and 5 seed. But this team, I was going to say, leading before the injuries between Luka and Austin Reeves, the Lakers had this series because, sure, Şengün is okay, he's not bad. It's just he's not great. He elbows people, he hooks them, goes around, turns around, whatnot. But Denver Nuggets, Timberwolves, that's going to be a great series if everything goes well for the Timberwolves, who have been kind of on a slump. But that's because Anthony Edwards has been injured, and also they are kind of inconsistent, but they do play good teams really well. For the play-in, currently it is the Phoenix Suns versus the Clippers, and then Portland Trail Blazers versus the Warriors. And how do you want that series to end up? Like, those 2 series?
Well, as it currently stands, the only teams that can really shift in the West are the Clippers and the Trailblazers, which would be interesting because they're trying to work Steph back in. He's back into action for the Warriors, so you never know with that one of the best players in the world what he's going to do. But obviously, Clippers and Suns, both teams who Clippers were not sitting well. I believe their record was 5-16.
Yes, they were terrible at the beginning of the season, and then they clicked, and then James Harden got traded.
But
Kawhi Leonard has playing at an all NBA level, I believe. I don't know if he'll hit the margin this year. I believe he can, or I could be wrong on that. Another thing to ask you, how do you feel about the 65-game rule?
That is a very interesting conversation to have, as the 65-game rule is something that a lot of people have complained about, as there's kind of it feels like there's a little bit of a steep amount of games, but Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, they're not eligible for awards, and both of those players. Same with Luka Doncic now because of his injury, and
Victor Wembanyama too. He's day-to-day currently.
That is 4 out of 5 players that could potentially be first-team All-NBA.
Yeah, those would have been first-team All-NBA. Ant might have made it the second team, but it was definitely going to be Shea, Luka, Jokic, Victor. And that 5th one would have been up in the air. Either Anthony Edwards,
or potentially a player like Cade
would have been on first team. Oh my God, I'm so sorry for misremembering Cade Cunningham. But I personally, I don't mind the 65 game rule. I just think they need to change it to like maybe 55 or 60.
I think a big part that a lot of people have complained about because this rule was implemented was the reason why it was made because of load management. And
Yes.
to make sure athletes aren't sitting overly a crazy amount, back when Kawhi, according to them, would sit out like 50 games just to be ready. Obviously he wasn't, but a big part of that was to try to make sure players play. I think they should adjust their way of thinking. Instead of having a game rule where you have to play a specific amount, why don't we just lower the games a little bit? I feel like we don't have to have 82 games in an NBA season to determine who's the best teams. I feel like 72, and even possibly smaller than that would suffice.
Yeah, also you're thinking about that they have approved to look at Seattle and Las Vegas as currently as an expansion team, and they're also starting NBA Europe, I believe, in a couple of years. I mean, it's going to be very interesting what they do if the Board of Governors this offseason, if they are like, hey, Kate Cunningham should have made it. Luka Doncic should have made it. Anthony Edwards should have made it. And if Victor misses out, he was going to win DPOY. Because now who's going to win DPOY if he misses out on the next game?
I have an answer, but you're not going to like it.
Who is it?
Rudy Gobert, probably.
No, I think it's going to be Chet.
It could actually. Chet is a really good option. Isn't he first in defensive rating this year?
I believe at least one time I saw he was first, but Victor Wembanyama might have overtaken him. But that he's anchoring one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah, so Chet Holmgren probably would win that award, but it also opens up the question because we talk about a Spur and a Thunder player, and those teams really have set themselves apart in the Western Conference, both winning 60 games, very impressive. But I mean, who has the best chance of knocking these two teams out of the other 10 possible teams remaining here in the Western Conference?
It's definitely the Nuggets. Nuggets are number one.
Okay.
I would say if they were healthy, the Lakers. At least knocking out. Because, if you get the Lucas here, because Luka does step up in the playoffs, and LeBron could step up, Austin Reeves could step up. He's stepped up this year tremendously. But, yeah, I would say Denver, and then that's basically it. I can't think of any other. Sure, the Timberwolves could go on a hot run like they did the last 2 years, but it so far hasn't looked great for them this season.
They've had a losing record in their last 36 games.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of why a lot of people are kind of deviating away from Minnesota this year, as they were the 3 seed sometime in March.
Yes.
As they're moving towards the playoffs, but now really taking a step back, going to finish under 50 games for the second straight year, which obviously Minnesota, that's fine. You're making the playoffs every year, but it's, again, they're getting healthy now. Jay McDaniels just came back after a 6-game absence, but do you see them as really capable of making another playoff run?
Yeah, for sure. It's Anthony Edwards. He's not going to win Clutch Player of the Year or MVP this year because obviously he can't make it. But he would have been a contender at least for Clutch Player of the Year. That's going to go to Shea. Sorry, I'm going to say it goes to my boy Shea.
All right. Yeah, he's had some great moments. That game winner against the Nuggets.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
I love his celebration too.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
You want to describe it?
No, I'm not going to describe it.
Okay. But we can also move over towards the Eastern Conference because we talk a lot about the West because the West seems like it's always stacked.
Yeah, it's always stacked. But the Eastern Conference right now, 5 through 9, it's still up in the air.
Yeah. The Charlotte Hornets could potentially be a 5.
What a story about Charlotte, too.
Yeah.
Last year, no hope. This year, coming off the bench is one of the best offensive teams, I believe. I shouldn't say off the bench, but coming in, I think the season was kind of a little bit rough, and then a switch happened where they became one of the best offensive teams in the league. But Atlanta, since trading Trae Young, have gotten better. Jalen Johnson has stepped up this year. Boston's healthy again. New York Knicks kind of look. It's New York Knicks. You pay so much money for that starting 5. Cleveland has kind of had a step back. They do have James Harden now, but it's also I don't know exactly. It's hard to explain with the Cavs. Last year, I'm pretty sure they were the 2 seed, and they lost to the Pacers, I believe, in the second round.
Yeah, and that's going to be a big part of why I'm going to ask you this, Eric, because we talk about the Cavs, Knicks, Celtics, and Pistons. They're the only teams in the East that are going to win 50 games, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if there is a team right now in the Eastern Conference outside of that top 4 that could make some noise, who is it going to be?
Okay, we did find news that Joel Embiid has gotten surgery on his appendix. Or he had an appendicitis or whatever.
Yep,
so,
appendicitis.
So he's going to be out for a long time. Which sucks because I believe Embiid is really good. I mean, he still is good currently. I mean, he hasn't played every single game this year. He's been on and off. He's going to do the LeBron James this year, where it's like he'll play like one game, the next two he might be missing. But I would say if Joel Embiid can come back and recover from that surgery that he just had early, I would say that's a scary team. And then also I would say Atlanta can give fits to this Cleveland team because, I mean, Jalen Johnson, who is going to guard, like James Harden's not going to guard Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson is literally playing the one spot right now currently. KQAL Alexander-Walker, I mean.
Is he going to win Most Improved Player?
Oh, he needs to. I mean, at one point he was averaging 29 points per game in the season.
I guess a couple of Timberwolves fans have brought up a comparison as Jalen Brunson, before he was on the Knicks, he was on the Mavericks. Mm-hmm. Obviously not exactly 1-to-1, as Jalen Brunson was still averaging a good chunk, 15 points per game on the Mavericks. Is KQAL Alexander-Walker Minnesota's Jalen Brunson, where he's good for them when he's there, but when he leaves, he becomes exponentially better?
Yes. Yes and no, because I would say at least comparing Jalen Brunson is very great offensively. He's a great offensive talent. Mm-hmm. But I would say overall, like skill-wise, it is KQAL Alexander-Walker because he can get you buckets and he can also defend. That's one of like the big important parts of why he came off the bench for the Timberwolves, is because he could score, but his main thing was defense. He was defensive focused. But yeah, I mean, I would say ultimately yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I mean, the Hawks currently, as you said, they'll be taking on the Cavs round one if the season were to end today.
Yes.
Obviously, we have a couple of games left. A lot of drama to be held here in the Eastern Conference as, again, there's a lot of matchups you could see, but again, there's a couple of teams here. Celtics, obviously, most experience here as the finals team currently eliminated at 18-61, so we won't see the Pacers back. But Celtics, in an off year, I put in air quotes because they traded away most of their good players. I mean, are they the runaway favorites here in the East, or do you think the Detroit Pistons are legitimate finals contenders?
I don't know, because I want to see the Pistons in their first playoff game, because I don't think Kate is coming back for that series. I am checking currently, and there's no news on that currently. I could be wrong.
It'll be something they probably work into in the playoffs, where we figure out if Cade is back. Most likely, he will make a return if they do make advance around, most likely.
Sorry, he actually returned to the lineup against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, there you go.
So he can return, or he will return by the playoffs at least. So we'll see how they do in that first series against whoever they go against in the play-in. I mean, what a story from Boston too, because like I would say going into this year, no one thought they were going to win at least 50. People might have been like, oh, they're probably going to be like the 6th or 5th seed, a play-in team at least. Jalen Brunson has held down the fort since Jason Tatum tore his ACL against the New York Knicks last year.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown, very good player, as well as a Derek White stepping up. And yeah, I mean, correct me if I butcher his name, but there's a big on Boston who's really been bringing it. Neemias Queta.
I don't know if you butchered it, but I that's how I would have said it too. I mean, you trade away Kristaps last year, and people were like, "Oh, that's a dumb move. Why'd you do that?" And this is why they did that, because they have a good backup center, and they also have Nikola Vucevic, who's also a good passing center.
All right, Eric, very tough question here. I know it's going to be hard for you, for your fan affiliations, but who do you think has the best chance to win the finals? Before we get an official bracket, who do you think has the best chance to win the finals this year?
The Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, Detroit, and the Celtics. Those are the 5 teams.
The top 5 from Eric Bell here on the Sports Rundown. That's going to do it here for our Thursday installment, as be sure to stay tuned for Monday's rundown here as we have the results of the Masters, an official NBA playoff bracket, and just some more conversations here between our fellow cohorts here at KQAL. Thank you all for listening to the Sports Rundown here. I'm Gabe Slavin along with Eric Bell, and thank you so much for listening, and as always, roll Warriors.